stay warm is so afraid of my affections. You could drown in your own storm. There's no need for reservation. No one else can see. After some examination, man, I think that you've got what I need. It's really alright. It's really alright. It's really alright if you don't love me. What's that look of consternation? I'm completely in control. So if you're thinking of evasion, there's something you should know. Well, I wouldn't say I own you, but you're a lover without liberty. Which would you rather face, that cold-hearted landscape or me? What's that look of consternation? I'm completely in control. So, if you're thinking of evasion, there's something you should know. Well, I wouldn't say I own you, but you're a lover without liberty. Which would you rather face, that cold-hearted landscape or me?
Well, hello, darlings. The air conditioner's humming. It's gonna go all summer. But it will be off on Thursday and Friday. Temperatures drop back to normal spring. So this has been sitting while I've been eating and running around the building. Well, it's not what I want to see. But it seems like it's headed in the right direction. So we're going to continue. I think I'll be switching to the bamboo soon. That's like the extreme end. should be doing. It is extremely frustrating. Okay, I am going to go the extreme. It's time for the bamboo torture. Do anything resembling what I'm looking for. Try harder. Talk terrible. You're not doing it. Well, some of it's shrinking really nicely. I feel I'm going to do the whole thing with her. It's acting like it's not even really wool. Alright. If I can't make you one way, I can do you in another. That is felted beautifully. I can't explain this. I would have sworn it was the same exact one. Came from the same batch, I think. That's like two completely different animals. not filtered by now. It will never, never be filtered. Think about it. See all that? Are you fucking kidding me? Well. Looks like I'm pulling my hair out. Okay, I'm going to cast this into the kitchen sink. Get the soap out of it. This is redeemable as pre-felt. I can use it as texture under other felts, make shapes. Really was hoping I could make something for the crescent moon, but nay, not today. This one has to go away. Alright, I got them in this for the moment. Now, my last two small vessels came out so cool. I want to make another one, and I have to make a couple specifically for someone special. So far, this is my favorite vessel. I want to make something on the same order. So I'll pick out some colors. I want to make the set match but not match. love for one to be like earthy tones, warm, Halloweeny. I didn't put the heat on under my tea. Caught it in the nick of time. Okay, I really, really need to find my template material. Okay, it might be right here. I kind of slid somewhere. All this stuff is so slippery. That became this. So it has to be bigger than this. I actually like this a little better, but this will work. It's a little bit closer to what we need. a circle. It's not a circle. Okay, well we're getting closer. It's a roundish figure. My fingernail marks. Luckily, because of what I'm plotting, I don't really want anything that's geometrically perfect, because when it felts, I like to get lots and lots of texture, which is going to be supplied by the way I lay out the yarn. So, that new black yarn felts like a charm, so that's what we're going to use. But first we have to lay out the top. What is the top going to look like? Well, for one thing, it's going to have a hole in the top, so the design is going to be around that. So let's see, I should probably save some space. Black, purple, gold, pink, just a little bit of magenta, but not neon magenta. I don't think I've got the right shade of pink. We've got green. Green and purple and black works great together too. Let's get out the viscose. Yeah. Definitely. Go. My new stuff. Some black silk, but it will not make as much puckering as I want for this. Gorgeous girl. Looks like a feather with a dried seed head. There's a seed head. I better have that much loose, and I'm going to go ahead and cut it because I want to pull this out right now. Song. This is a scarf I really liked, but I couldn't wear it anywhere without it getting tangled on everything. So I also couldn't part with it, so I decided to save it and someday make some art with it. Oops, sorry about that. And my very first vessel is this. Let's see. assembly required. You have to start with plastic. Piece big enough. I will have to cut. And that will just barely work. Okay. I don't really want these to felt completely. And I want to wrap this around so we have some for the bottom of the bowl as well. Maybe I better just make it a fresh one on the other side. This is just one of the most beautiful dye jobs I've ever seen. some gold threads. Oops, sorry. I hate when I do that. I bet you hate it more with your ears. We have different golds here. There are green golds and gold gold. And I'm going for the gold gold because I've already got green. Where I want it. You can't go, you're orange. No, 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 no. I didn't just do that. Don't do it again. Stay over there. Making a mess of this yarn. Calm down. say that every time I look at this. lost the end there for a second. Okay, I have to get it wetted down so I can flip it over. Soap in there. That's okay. Oh, maybe it's not. It didn't drain off. Soak up. Soak, darling, soak. Don't end up in the wet. A magic wetting. Oh, that got cold. This is the biggest single piece I've worked on. It's clumsy. Keep your wool over there. Stay safe right there. this over, so it's going to hold together well enough. But you can't get aggressive or all of the fibers will move that I just laid out in the pattern. Definitely not. Need a really big piece. Don't go anywhere. Oops, sorry. Okay, now, again, water. This will remind me that this is the bottom, so I don't cut a hole through it. took care of that when I came on. I looked up at the clock and it's like, oh, look at that, it's 4:20. But it took me a few minutes to log in and all that. Ooh, we've got some cool purple here. Yeah, I have that on the front. But that'll be cool to have something different for the bottom. There's another one in there. Oops. Don't get too crazy. Should have a little bit of that, right? That helps filter down. There's a lot of things I just threw away as boxes with garden leftovers. What kind of leftovers? You do compost, don't you? At least berry stuff. I'll tell you what, even though I can't compost anymore, I hate throwing away garden waste because it can be used as compost for making compost. And I hate giving up that nutrition. Especially stuff like connected with sprouts, because the sprouts break down so quickly. And they provide some fast nourishment for growing plants. But, you know, different circumstances require different Still have more boxes. I don't know what you're doing, so that doesn't really mean anything to me now. I don't know how big your boxes are, where you keep them, what do you do with them, and what do you do with so many? That's all a mystery to me. Oh yeah, before I go crazy with the wool, I have to fold this up. Oh, wet enough. Don't move. I'm going to have to go get more water. I'm not going to have enough to do this. Alright, more water coming up. Oh, this is still quite hot. If I put hot water on this right now, it's going to make it seize up. Oh. So are you trying to imitate him or what? I would think that you're getting more efficient in knowing what to keep and what not, because your room is so limited. That's true. We don't like to throw anything away. I have a hard time throwing any art supplies away. Anything I think I can use in art. Why would I want to get rid of that? Oh. Yeah. That was a hell of a storm. That is one motivation for growing inside with just water. All the sprouts and small things, you know, that you can harvest quickly before they go moldy or need soil. Like, I can control only so much, but in an apartment building, as you know, things travel. And I ended up with those mites two ways. First, a neighbor was overrun with them, and of course had no reason to tell anybody. So suddenly I was dealing with those fungus gnats, and I finally thought I had them beat, and I bought that soil, and it turned out I was hatching them in a bag of soil. Like, I give up. No more soil indoors. We went through that growing the weed garden. Indoor pests are harder to take care of because you don't have what's natural in the environment, like wind and predator insects and wind and birds, things that like to eat your pests. Yeah. When we first started growing, of course, when you're growing weed, even though we were legal, that did not prevent you from crime, you know, and people wanted to steal what they smelled. So we were cautious, and we started with a tent and a whole charcoal filter and air conditioner and fans and filters and all kinds of stuff to try and grow it in a stealth-like way. And I learned when that stuff starts flowering, there's no disguising it. I don't care what you use, someone's going to whiff it. And in an apartment building, that basically forced us to have to move. You can't stay here if you're going to grow because not everybody wants to smell that. I say legal, but people have to live with it. Oh, that's not good. Some of them are toxic to cats. Then we tried hydroponics. Again, you know, we had to be indoors. And that was part of the law too, with the gardens at that time in that state. All gardens had to be indoors and protected so minors couldn't get to them, and yada yada yada. And we had no intention of ever being near a minor anyway, so that was not a hard thing to do. But even hydroponics, we ended up, first we tried the hydroponics with soil, mites, and fungus gnats, and whatever could get inside plants itself in your garden. So that was not fun. Then we switched to coconut coir and nutrients. And that worked a little better, because lots of stuff doesn't want to live in that other than the roots. But that became more of a, oh my god, we had a flood. I guess something leaked or a timer didn't work right, and I walked into the nursery to find a spray going up against the wall and soaking my carpet. And I had the entire room encased in plastic. And here's where you just don't think. The plastic came about 6 inches up the side of the wall. And when that hose popped its gasket, it was shooting out at the wall about 12 inches above the floor and going behind the plastic and under it. So we had a leak in the dining room we had to contend with. So I said, I haven't had so many floods. Okay. I dropped my needles, so I'm going to have to be real careful when I get up, but I don't have to get up right this minute, so I'm just going to let it sit for a few. Come on. Stuff is stronger than you think. Loosen it up. Once it's loose, it comes apart like a puff of whipped cream. Why are you suddenly giving me a hard time? There. Oh yeah? So, how much is expected? I love just before a storm. I love the smell of the air and the tension in the air. It's like, here it comes, here it goes. Of course, right now there's some really serious tornadoes going on. We would not want that storm. Okay, one more layer this way and more water. Now all this black, you're looking at the inside of the vessel. The decorations are in the middle, hidden and protected. most of the storms go around me. Usually right above and right below. It's like, even though I'm not, technically, it's like I'm living in another isolated thermal area. Wherever I go, it seems to have just, my neighborhood has its own weather. So like even when we got the most snow, we didn't get the most snow. The worst of the snow was everywhere around us. We got the least of it. Which our maintenance people were grateful for. I know some of the storm systems are trying to, looks like they're trying to merge. Oh. But yeah, it's still early for you. You should have bright sun right now. Well, it's 6:13. Oh my God, already? Where'd the day go? I've been having such a nice time. I forgot about the time. Sounds good, birthday boy. Did you get your yogurt? Or is it too early? You get a whole bunch of phone calls, friends and family. Happy birthday. Sorry. I knew if I moved the mic closer it was going to be a pain. It's birthday. It's birthday, no work till next month. How long do you take off to celebrate your birthday? Anyway, your work is really not work. It really isn't work. It's garden. That's birthday or no birthday. Plants don't care about your birthday. Aside from that, it's not like you have to work like, you know, a day job anymore. Okay, we're getting ready to do this. Okay, good, it's cooled down a bit. I didn't want to shock it. Too hot, it frightens it. The scales on the hair go, I can't move right now because I have all those needles on the floor that I don't want to step on. Where'd I throw that net? Oh, right there. That feels a little warm there. Okay, this smells so good. Sandalwood soap. I've heard different recommendations. A lot of people recommend using only pure 100% olive oil soap. That's harder to get these days than some people think. But it turns out really you can use any soap or even no soap, just water. I do like the soap. I think it makes everything a little slippery. And that helps. Okay, we have to flip it again. Okay. Again, because it clearly needs more soap. Okay, I have to take a break here for a second and pick up all these needles before I hurt something or myself. Okay, didn't realize it was open. Okay, back to the net. And the soap. I need to get this cooperating, and right now it's reluctant to move together. It's not soapy enough. Now This won't work, right? Unless we get all the air out. But it's too early to start pressing too hard because I'll dislocate these things. We don't want that. Thank you. No. Inside. Just a little more soap there. He likes the soap. I'm going to end up having to get the big towel again to absorb all of this water, which I need to make everything lay down so I can squeeze the air out and set all of the fancy stuff on the inside in place before we start the shrinking. I just realized that I forgot to mark which side to cut. Of course, I can cut an end. That will not matter so much, really. I did want a round one. That means I have to cut it in the center, but sit for a minute. Okay, it's double time. Oh my goodness. You should look online and see what it is. That's very strange. Stay inside. This is the time when all good people mind their own business. Might be, let's see, transporting of people who are sick. That's usually what ambulances are about, but one on one end of the block and one on the other. The hospital's not too far from me, right? Oh, I might be able to finish this tonight. It's already late. I'll leave in 10 minutes. Did you send me a picture? Yes, you did. Oh, wow. Isn't that awesome? I always love how palm trees look like paintbrushes just sticking there in the sky. Is that your garden? Nice. You live in such a pretty place. Yeah, it pretty much is. And Hawaii just did something to save democracy, and I hope every state follows suit. But they took one of the biggest criminal activities out of the scene for money and politics. It's like, all right, now everybody's got to do the same thing. Get dark money out of politics. Corporations are not people. So Hawaii did a good thing. because as long as corporations have the same rights as people, which sounds weird, but in doing that, they have been able to avoid paying suits, getting away with doing stuff that's illegal, but they're able to stall it, or, like what's happening right now, directly bribe the president to make sure laws favor them and screw everybody else, so long as they make money. So it's good. It's good. Now, as soon as we come into power, we're going to take care of the elections and make sure they really are fair. By eliminating just the two parties and the electoral college, and make it so every vote counts in real life. Not just, well, because you're registered this way, your vote went there. I didn't vote. Well, yeah, you did in a way, because you registered as this, so now your vote's there. We count you when we need to. Yep. That's like Monsanto having all that bad press for all their evil ways. So they sold out the most evil parts to Bayer, which was its own evil pharmaceutical company. They got into the chems, so they're carrying all the deadly stuff that Monsanto couldn't use under their label anymore because everybody knew who Monsanto was. But Bayer, people associate with baby aspirin and things like that. With the bullshit, #1 most recommended by doctors. No, it's not. That's a lie. But it's a big company and they pay for that advertising, so. Now they own Roundup and they're pushing to make Roundup everywhere again. Even though it has given more than 70,000 people cancer. And that's just the ones that sued. Live long enough to sue. But anyway, I'd like to see the solutions. I want to see all that stuff being taken off the market and the people who made sure it didn't be punished. Of course, you know, all we gotta do right from the start is stop buying their shit. And they're sneaky because they diversify and they own lots of different things. That's like a lot of people own stock, have no idea what their stock really is. Well, I diversified according to my guy. I said, your guy is working for the rich, not you. He's getting the extra money, you're not. It's a game. You have to already pretty much be rich to make a really good profit. But they won't let you know that because then you'll stop investing in them. There was a book I had, it's outdated now and also gone, but it was social investing, and it's basically buying stocks in enough quantities with a group, if you don't have it on your own, to have a say in influence in the board of directors meetings, to be able to vote as a stockholder in companies that are doing things that you find objectionable. So, and also to support companies that were following good environmental policy, good human rights policies, that kind of thing. So it was basically it was a stock portfolio advisor, what to get to support the real Americans, the working Americans, and what to avoid, because all it does is make the rich way richer. Oh, they're anything but a mom and pop company. They haven't been mom and pop since almost the beginning, since the 50s. Oh, you bet your ass. They're known for having the best team of lawyers in the world. they're totally cutthroat. When I was working as a vendor for Disneyland for their artist department, I heard things that were just like, what? They have the right to tell you that? Like, you know, how much makeup they can wear and how much their jewelry is and how long their hair can be. Girls. Okay? Unless you were playing a princess, they didn't want you to have long hair, right? And if you're black, it goes without saying, they were regulating your hair, or they just didn't get a job until you looked more white. Yeah. They want that image, that clean little white girl image. The little Alice in Wonderland image. But they're more like, who was that lion in Lion King who killed his brother? Yeah, yep. Anaheim to Ontario, and in Japan. Now I'm curious about the Japanese one, because I would think that their rules would be a little bit different, because they have some strict rules for the environment, and I don't think that they'd be willing to forego them just for Disney, even if it's big. Okay, we're starting to get shrinkage. I never made it to Disney World, and I always did. I really did want to go there, but every time I went down to Florida, there just wasn't any time. And once when I had the time, I didn't have the money, because, you know, it's an excursion. We were in the villages. You had to drive an hour to Ontario. I mean, not Ontario, Orlando. Maybe over an hour. And it was such an ordeal just to get there. It was like, well, we're going to spend the night. So just plan on getting a hotel room, which is a fortune anymore. I wanted to, when I lived in Anaheim, actually, I thought it'd be fun. My husband and I were both into Disneyland. We thought it'd be fun to rent a room in one of their hotels and do a 2-day park visit. It seemed like it would be a good deal, but then we started looking at all the prices, and it's like, no, I just cannot justify paying this when we can drive home, eat, and then drive back the next morning when they open. Oh yeah, oh yeah. That's not the only one. I mean, it's basically based on the military. They don't want you to feel too special. At the same time, they want you to feel special. Special because they hired you, but not any more special than anyone else there. There's a lot of YouTube videos exposing the behind the scenes at Disneyland. Of course, you know, they try to suppress what they can, but not everything is suppressible. Now, did you have to live at the dorm, or was it just the only affordable option? Did you send me another picture or something? Because I see another notice. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly. And the thing is, the art department is the most rebellious of all kinds of people. You're artists. We're artists. Artists are not like other people. They try to make us like other people, but we're not like other people. So, Now see, when I went to California, I was still a musician and a songwriter, and of course Disney was like, can I get in there? And that was my first taste of, oh no, I would never be able to fit their mold in anything unless it was doing something mechanical underground where nobody had to see me. I'm too feral to work for companies like that. Yeah, Disney's is like, you are the message. Everyone that works there. If you go into the park, you are the message. You are the representative for the entire company. And they expect you to act like that. Whether you're picking up a forbidden cigarette butt or ushering some child onto a ride, you represented the whole company. And in a way that's true really of any company. When you have a name attached to you, you have standards for your company. And I appreciate that. I mean, if you have somebody hired to be playing Snow White, you want all the Snow Whites to be consistent so that no child has a different experience than the other that meets Snow White. And they have to be skilled in handling children and weird stuff that comes up and unexpected stuff. There's always something, because, you know, people are just weird in general. Yeah. Take the money and run, because they're never going to give you a raise or promote you because you're black. But thanks to DEI, they had to give you a chance because you were just as good as the other people who applied. I can feel it getting dense. That's what we want. I think this is the right side, because the other side, I put a square of that fabric to act as the bottom, so I think this is it. I just wish I had remembered to put a piece of colored felt over here, so I remember this is the side you cut. In the future, I think I'm going to put a piece of round felt and just build over that so I have exactly where to cut. Because layout is through history. Ah. Right, yeah, they're very, they were very clear about that. That was what made them famous to start with, so yeah, it's kind of important. Alright, time to start draining some of this water, and then I'm gonna go. I'm gonna make myself dinner. I'm having salmon tonight. I had Southwest black bean soup for lunch, which is very hearty, but not a lot of calories. Like, I had less than 200 calories, but there's a lot of beans, so, and well, there's some other stuff in there. It was filling, and I'm hungry again. So do you want to still be there emotionally, or you want to move on from that? It's over. It's done. You're not an animator. You didn't enjoy it. You didn't enjoy your surroundings. It was what it was. You grabbed what you thought might be a creative opportunity. You can't be blamed for that. They tried something. At least you frickin' tried it. Most people don't. Now, most of us go through that when we realize who's pulling the strings and how much room we have to be just even good employees. You know, I worked very well. Once I knew what my job was, I made sure I did as good as I could with it, and then I usually helped other people. So it was natural for me to end up in a position of, you know, like a floor person. But working in the factory, I did not mind the work. Nobody minded the work. It was hard work. It was stinky. It was hot. It was in a building that was condemned that the fire department used to practice throwing water on it because they figured, well, one day we're going to be here anyway. Half the windows on our floor were broken, but even though they were broken, nobody bothered getting them repaired because even in winter it was 104 degrees in there. Like, how come it's not snowing inside? Oh, as soon as the snow hits a cushion of the hot air in our place, it just melts right there. And when I got promoted to a, what do they call that? Not a lead operator, or maybe I was. It wasn't supervisor, but I had to, like a floor monitor. I went and trained everybody on their, I think there's 6 or 7 different coils that we did when I was working there. Anyway, I really loved it, but I was disturbed by things that were not getting fixed. And we were paying union dues, so I went to a union meeting, and it's like, well, I spoke up, and they didn't like that. But I was a member, and they couldn't shut me up. So after a few meetings where I insisted that they take care of basic things like light bulbs and replacing rusty nails that we have to handle every day with fresh anodized nails, I got promoted. They promoted me into management to shut me up, because once you become management, you can't belong to the union. Union's for the workers. And now I was promoted to a management, lower management, obviously. It was the lowest management position they could give me on that floor and shift. But it was still management, and they put me on a salary instead of an hourly wage, and I lost my power as a worker in a union. If I knew now, I mean, if I knew then what I know now, it would have been very different. But then again, they probably would have just done what some other places do. They're really big. They just close the plant and make another plant take up the slack. Whatever you're not producing, they'll produce somewhere else. But it was just one thing I did in many different things I've done in my life. And I'm not going to let myself get depressed or gloomy, and certainly not going to beat myself up over anything. I was a working girl. I had to work to support myself. You were a working guy. You had to work to support yourself. You look around and try and find the best job you can. And if you make a mistake, well, Edgar Allan Poe, huh? Are you that depressed? You also aren't that kind of sickly. And you're not living in New York City. It's an advantage. Your life is so unlike Edgar Allan Poe. You had lots of crappy jobs, so did I. Our attitude, though, was clearly different, because I don't look back and think about them as crappy jobs. They weren't important jobs. Some of them were factory jobs. I found, that's like, it's just my nature. I look for the best in anything. If I can't change it, which of course, if I see something wrong, I try to change it any way I can. But if I can't, I accept that and move on, get a different job, because none of them were like careers, they were just jobs. The closest I had to a career, aside from my own, singing and all that, was working in art supplies, and I loved that job. But that was not my own company. It was just a job I really loved for 6 years. But different jobs give you different skills in dealing with the world. I mean, I'm never going to go make Teflon toilet paper liners in the real world. That was the factory job I took, and didn't last 2 weeks because it was sucky. The people sucked, the bosses sucked, the work sucked, the factory sucked. I did not like it. And I was there as a temporary, so I just went to the temp and said, I'm done over here. Find someone else. This job sucks. But other things, I started out homeless, and I got a job as a waitress, and all I could say was I was really grateful to have a job as a waitress. I did learn about guys pinching your ass, and people stiffing you about tips, and a whole bunch of other things that happen when you enter the real world. But boy, I'd be a bitter bitch if all I did was think about, oh, I hated that job. So what? A lot of people hate their jobs. At some point, you got to move on, right? Now you're sitting in the Garden of Eden with your own garden and a cat. Do you really want to? Now, look, I've had a really bizarre life, And I've climbed from the bottom up to, emotionally speaking, the top. And people over the years have asked me to write my life story when they know my whole story. You don't know it. You know lots of stuff from it, but you don't know my life any more than I know your life. But when I sat down to do that, and I thought about it, it was like, you know what? This stinks. Why do I want to go and relive my life? I already lived it once. Do I really need to write it? Am I really going to teach anybody anything that's not already being taught? Everything, including every spiritual teaching I have, it's already been spoken by someone, and when I'm off this planet, it'll still be spoken by others. So don't take yourself so seriously. Neither of us is that important. You're here to find joy, to live your own life, and if you keep going backward and focusing on the crap that landed you where you are, you're just going to stay there. You're not going to progress, because you tend toward depression. You tend toward the dark side when it gets you. Now, how is it going to be good for you to sit there and think about your life and turn that into a storyboard? You think anybody needs it? What do people need? For them to connect with you as a writer, an artist, you have to show a journey, because otherwise it's boring. You have to show where you healed. Like, this stuck, but don't spend too much time showing how badly it sucked. You've got to show how you came out of that, how you turned it around for yourself. She'd call you up and to tell, you would call her? Wait. My mom has to call me, tell her how my week went. I tell her and she would laugh and laugh. Sounds like your mother's crazy. Hey, I can top that, but I'm not going to, because we don't need that. I don't want to relive how shitty a mother I had, especially because the world saw her as a nice woman. She's so sweet. I said, yeah. Real sweet. So, I don't want to visit that. I have excitement in my life right now. I am learning new things. I'm trying new things. Why should I give my time to the past I've already lived? If I didn't like it, why would I want to live it a second time? I don't. Not going there. You say, well, you know, they don't understand me. I want someone to understand me. Well, that's what every teenager wants. And I told you before, like I told everybody on the show, no one is ever going to understand you to the depth that you want to be understood, because nobody can be you. No one can feel like you do. No one can see like you do. No one is going to have the thoughts and feelings exactly like you. There's never going to be someone on this planet who can relate to you exactly like you are, because they're always going to see something of themselves in you, because it's nature to see ourselves reflected in others. So no matter what you do, no matter how much a person loves you, no matter how much you love them, no matter how much you share, yeah, they'll find lots of stuff to relate to, but they're never going to understand you. So just get used to that. Everybody here is unique. Your viewpoint is unique, and that's what makes it valuable to Source. That it's different. That it's only yours. Source doesn't keep making people, even twins are different. You may look the same, but you're not experiencing things the same way, and that's the beauty of this existence. Well, if it makes you laugh, then remember, but if it pisses you off later, like, I can sit here and think about something bad that Glenn did. Is that going to help? But then I can think of him falling down the stairs with that can of whipped cream, and that's fucking hilarious. So I can think about him falling down the stairs with the can of whipped cream and smile, but there isn't very much else I can think about at the moment and make me smile or laugh about him. He was an asshole. He was a narcissist, sociopathic, sometimes psychopathic asshole. Exactly. That's how I feel. Right now, it couldn't get any better. I mean, not counting all the stuff that potentially could happen. Right now, I am really, really pleased. I'm producing art. I have a song in my head every day. There's multiple songs in my head every day. Just because I'm not out trying to make them into songs to sell. They're my songs anyway, and I enjoy them. So I'm enjoying the vibe, just being. And when you do that, good things keep coming. But we start getting melancholy and thinking about the past and wish I did this different. Well, that's one's a real waste of time. I should have done it this, or I should have said that. It's like, yeah, well, you didn't. And thinking about it now is not helping you. In fact, every time you go back to a place where you were hurt, or you felt embarrassed or stupid or humiliated, all you do is recreate that chemistry in your body, and you make yourself physically ill. Your thoughts affect your health. So the only way you can affect your health with your thoughts in a good way is to literally think about things that make you smile. If you can get yourself to laugh every day, it's not a joke that laughter is the best medicine. Once you can laugh, especially if you can laugh at yourself being an idiot, you know, it really, everybody's got to come to terms with the fact that we're all assholes at some point in our lives. We take turns being assholes. And it's not like we want to be, but that's just it. It's just being human. We don't need to be so hard on ourselves. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Because when you focus on the stuff that feels good, you leave room for the universe to deliver those 11th hour emergency refunds and stuff. It works out. Source is never away from you because source is the electricity powering you. It's the breath of life running through you. That's source, and it's talking to you all the time. You can either listen or you can ignore it and do your own human thing, but the human brain is an interference. It's slow compared to spirit, which is your higher self, which is source. The more connected you are and the happier you are, the faster things zoom, and faster things happen, come together for you. Look how my housing came through. You know the story there. You were with me on the show. You saw what happened. One minute I was announcing I'm going to have to shut down the show. Can't afford internet anymore. I don't even know where I'm going to live next week. I've got 9 days to find a new home. And within 1 hour, I was offered a condo up here. Like, if you can get here, you can have it for the same amount of rent you're paying for the furnished room. Oh, you do. You did need him. You were so sad. And you need someone to love and take care of because they love you back. And it's unconditional love. They're not judging you by anything other than, are you remembering to play with me and feed me and cuddle me and love me because I love you so much. Okay, I'm gonna have to leave this because I need to eat. Tomorrow is Tuesday. I'll be back as early as I can get my butt out of bed. And I do miss having a cat, Maui. My sister sent me one of those Instagram things, and it was a guy with an orange cat. And it was so much like Manushka in that he purrs all the time. just purrs and purrs. And I had him checked out to see if there was something wrong with his lungs, rumbly. But Manushka was a rumbly cat, and he used to sing in my ear until Glenn scared him and threatened him, basically. Grabbed him by the head and shook it when he started purring in my ear. I hate him for that. Ugh. So, that's what I mean. You gotta let those things go when they come up, because otherwise they're just gonna eat at me. And what's good is that? My cat is gone and Glenn is definitely gone, so I don't need to haunt myself. But when I saw that video, it was like, oh, that is just so cute. But then immediately I started missing Manushka. Like, oh, I had like the most awesome orange cat, the only orange cat I ever had. But yeah, so it's very easy to fall back into those old patterns, old habits of thinking, and getting dragged down by our past. Stay focused on what turns you on now, what's good now. Even if you can only on some days find one tiny thing, give it to yourself. Enjoy it. Watch some cartoons. Watch some lighthearted stuff. Listen to old music that made you cheerful, but does not ignite melancholy or bad memories, because you know how we associate music with periods of our lives. There's songs that I love, but if I listen to them too long, it also starts simulating memories of when and where I first was listening to that song, and that's not always a good thing. So yeah, memory is a tricky little bitch, isn't it? Oh yeah, but don't make up for it by driving yourself cray-cray. Alright, sweetie, happy birthday! I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great rest of the day.